in the audience, I think we're just about ready to begin. So we're gonna, I'm gonna catch my frog in my throat, and then we're gonna get going. We're ready. D-frog, I'm D-frog. Good evening and welcome to the Livonia Public Schools regular board meeting of August 18th, 2025. Mrs. Acosta, would you take the roll, please?
Yes, Mrs. Burton,
Here.
Mrs. Frank,
Here.
Mrs. Jarvis,
Here.
Mr. Johnson,
Here.
Mr. McFarland,
Here.
Mrs. Acosta says here, President Bradford.
Here, and we have a quorum. Mrs. Jarvis, could you please lead us in the pledge?
With pleasure. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Welcome again to everybody who's watching on TV today and those that are in our audience. We've got a nice group here tonight. If you'd like to follow along with tonight's meeting and you're joining us in person, you can go out the doors and to the left and you'll find a copy of tonight's agendas on the table. If you're joining us from home, you can go to the LPS website, which is www.livoniapublicschools.org. You can click on the school board tab, go down to board meeting information, and then there you will find the meeting agendas. Tonight's a regular board meeting or a voting meeting. If you've tuned in to watch this meeting, you may notice that there might not be a lot of discussion happening on some of the items. That's because we have seen and discussed these items multiple times prior to this meeting, mainly at our study sessions and at our committee of the whole meetings. If you wish to hear more regarding these items, we ask that you go back and watch the committee of the whole meeting, and there you'll find a much richer discussion and many answers to maybe some of your questions. Our committee of the whole meetings are recorded and can be found on our website and via YouTube. One other trait that I would like to briefly mention is one of our community with character traits, and that is respect. Our students learn, model, and follow that trait every day at school. And our board also follows this and models this important trait here at the table. We do not always agree with one another, if you can believe that. And we have very differing opinions at times, but we treat each other with respect for our differences and in the way that we convey them to each other. You have our word that this board will treat everyone in this room with respect, and we ask that you do the same for us. And we feel that that's the best way to do our business. Thank you. And with that, we are going to move on to item 3, communications. And item 3A is the recognition of donations to PLTW, which is Project Lead the Way. Thank you. There's so many acronyms. Project Lead the Way and Garfield Community School. And this evening, we are going to see Mrs. Jenkins.
Thank you. Good evening, President Bradford, members of the board, Superintendent Oquist. Tonight it is my pleasure to recognize 2 significant donations to our schools. Breaking Barriers for Kids and Families, which is an awesome local nonprofit organization, received 2 grants, and they have identified 2 areas of need within Livonia Public Schools in which to donate the funds. The first is a $5,000 donation by Breaking Barriers for Kids and Families by way of a grant they received from 3M. And that grant is to help replenish the robotics equipment in the middle school Project Lead the Way classes. As you may recall, PLTW is our STEM curriculum, which was recently expanded to provide the STEM learning pathway for students in grades K through 12. Joining us this evening, if I can have my friends join me at the podium, we have 3 folks from Breaking Barriers for Kids and Families. We have Ann Owen, who just happens to be former Emerson Middle School principal, Jane Musinski, and Cheryl Dolker. Welcome, ladies. We also have joining us Paul Casada, and Paul played an instrumental role in identifying the needs for the PLTW courses, gee whiz. And Paul is an instructional and technology coordinator for LPS. Excuse me. I think I'm okay. I just need to.
There you go.
Oh, thank you. I should always bring my water.
Paul has a way of doing that. Thank you, Paul.
Yes, Paul, gee whiz. We also welcome Lauren Feigl, who is the principal of Garfield Community School. So thank you all for being here. And we have another guest here.
Eileen.
Eileen. Eileen Boyson, also from Breaking Barriers. She just snuck in on me. So welcome. We have prepared a certificate of appreciation to present, and I see they brought forth a check to present as well. So this one is for the PLTW donation. Livonia, the certificate reads, Livonia Public Schools Certificate of Appreciation, Breaking Barriers for Kids and Families, and 3M for a donation to purchase Project Lead the Way robotics materials for middle school PLTW classes, dated August 18th, 2025, and signed by Superintendent Andrea Oquist and Board President Karen Bradford. So I will go ahead and give that to Ann. Congratulations. Thank you so much. And what do we have here? And I'll have Paul come up. You can present this to Paul.
Just a sec. There will be a slight surprise.
Oh,
So Breaking Barriers became aware that 3M had a grant opportunity and that was geared towards STEM projects. And so on behalf of Breaking Barriers, I wrote that particular grant and we were awarded $5,000 towards the purchase of some needed supplies, which Paul can articulate for you what that will look like. Once we were awarded those monies, we felt it was such an important project, and we know that didn't cover the total cost of the project, so Breaking Barriers is matching that $5,000. So I wish to present. There you go.
oh, wow.
To Paul on behalf of both organizations, between 3M and Breaking Barriers. We wanted to make sure that we started the funds for that. As we all know, public education, all education, always could use a little helping hand and things of that nature. We know monies are always tight, and we wanted to make sure that all the STEAM and STEM programs were funded as much as possible.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Ann. I don't have a lot to say other than thank you. And,
Thank you.
Ann approached me last year during the school year about opportunities that we might have or ways or needs that we may have. And being the person who kind of coordinates our materials and stuff for our PLTW classes, I definitely recognize the need in our robotics in that the robots that we're currently using are getting older and will be in need of replacement. And so this will give us a good jump start to doing that.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, stay here for a minute. Do we have any comments from anybody here at the board table? Mrs. Frank?
Thank you so much. That is so fantastic. We've heard so much from our Project Lead the Way groups, and they are really diving into this and enjoying the curriculum that is in that program. And so this will be a huge start for replenishing those robotics, because robotics is just blossoming in our community. So thank you so much, Ann, and to everybody who participated in that. Thank you.
Mrs. Jarvis?
Thank you. When we brought the Project Lead the Way program on board, it was a wonderful opportunity for our students to engage in project-based learning, which is the best way to learn it. You take everything you're taught and you make it happen. That's the best way to comprehend it. And I'm just looking at all those ones and zeros. And, robots speak in ones and zeros, and apparently so do we. Thank you very much.
Oh, well done, Mrs. Jarvis. Mrs. Burton?
I just wanted to, Mrs. Jenkins, you mentioned it, but I didn't want it to go over anyone's head. Just so folks know, because there has been talk in our community, throughout really the whole nation, but in our community about making sure that our children have the opportunity for STEM education, and it is offered through Livonia Public Schools now on a K-12 basis, which actually really pre-K post,
Yeah.
post sector. But it's very exciting, and it's very much part of our curriculum. And this donation is so appreciated because these materials are not cheap at all. But the learning is really, really rich. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Burton. Anybody else? Mrs. O'Quist?
Thank you so much,
You're
President
welcome.
Bradford, and thank you so much to our friends at Breaking Barriers for Kids and Families. That previously, it was Livonia Kids and Families, correct? And I think this new name of Breaking Barriers for Kids and Families really does capture the work of what you're trying to do and what you are doing. And when we think about expanding the STEM pathway for our kids, Mrs. Burton is correct. Over the past several years, the board has invested in making sure that pathway begins at kindergarten and goes all the way through 12th grade in our new robotics center at the Career Center. But to keep these programs going, donations like this allow us to do that and to expand the number of students that can take these classes and expand what they're able to do. So beyond robotics, we have coding and medical detectives, which has been a very popular course at the middle school. And so the fact that you've chosen this area to focus and to support our students, we are so grateful. So please, please bring our thanks back. I know you are the board representing a group that spends a lot of time raising funds and focusing on what is needed in our community. So we're very grateful for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, wonderful.
The second incredible donation also comes to us by way of Breaking Barriers for Kids and Families. The organization received a $10,000 grant from Masco Corporation, and they wrote the grant to be able to provide funds for non-perishable items to stock the soon-to-open this fall food pantry at Garfield Community School, which will be run as a class. The students will run the pantry. It's currently being set up with the shelving, and all it needs now are the students and the food. So we've got the food primarily covered with this humongous donation of $10,000. So it'll go a long way in stocking and kicking off this great community resource. Just amazing. And of course, we have a special certificate for this one as well, and that reads Livonia Public Schools Certificate of Appreciation, Breaking Barriers for Kids and Families, and 3M. Oh, I have the wrong one. And Masco Corporation. For a donation to purchase non-perishable items to stock the food pantry at Garfield Community School, dated August 18th, 2025, signed by Superintendent Andrea Oquist and Board President Karen Bradford. So I will add this to the collection for Breaking Barriers, and I will turn it over to Mrs. Owen.
Not only do we want to provide excellent opportunities educationally for students while they are here at school, we want them to come, obviously, in the best condition, well-nourished. That is what leads to the foundation of great learning. And so, as you've known, for over the last 10 years, we have been incrementally expanding the food pantry offerings to make sure that all kids have access to proper nutrition. And our thrust these days is really going into the non-perishables, dairies, fruits and vegetables, meat products, things of that nature. And Masco has been a wonderful partner with Breaking Barriers in that sense. And so I get to present, and it's funny, here's the same check, but I have altered it slightly. Yes, Lauren. I quickly did the dry erase marker. Here you go, Lauren. Thank you. Masco is a wonderful community partner, and so they have donated $10,000 that we will dedicate primarily to the non-perishable, perishable items that will come from Garfield, and that is open to all community members, regardless of, do they have students in the schools or not. We want to make sure that our community is taken care of. And I think it is wonderful. I don't know if you are aware, Governor Whitmer proclaimed this week, starting today, August 17th, yesterday, is the Charitable Nonprofit Week in Michigan. So I think it's very apropos that we are here today representing, some of the best things about Livonia. It's the businesses, it's the citizens and things like that, wanting to take care of the students and raising the next generation. So on behalf of Breaking Barriers, Lauren, you got, we've got some more money, and I know Megan Sprouse sits on our board also, and she has been an incredible resource in helping us identify the needs and how to facilitate helping the kids as much as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Stacy, I'll give you the actual check.
I don't know. Oh, thank you. Oh, Mrs. Feigl.
Thank you again for your support and for
Mrs. Feigl, could
Yeah.
being here
Mrs.
this
Feigl
evening.
share just a little bit about the food pantry and also mention about Garfield Garments,
Oh, yes.
if you wouldn't mind?
Yep.
I think it's just a great resource for our community, and for you to be able to share that, I think would be
Yep.
wonderful.
So Garfield Garments has been open for the last school year. 3 days a week, our students operate and function that classroom. They sort the clothes, wash and launder them, hang them up and organize them, and welcome the public in. And then this year we'll be opening our food pantry. So this will be, thank you so much. It's so appreciated to have these funds to the non-perishable items to operate our food pantry. So we're so appreciative. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is anybody from the board, would anybody like to say a few words?
Can you,
Oh, go ahead,
can you
Mrs.
just
Frank.
remind us what age you serve at Garfield?
Yep, 18 to 26-year-olds from 11 different districts.
Mr. McFarland.
I just wanted to say, watching community partners, the nonprofits come together for especially a place like Garfield just is so warming and exciting leading into the school year. Lauren, you're doing an amazing job. Can't wait to watch
Thank
it
you.
flourish.
Thank you.
Thank you
Please
so
come and
much.
visit.
Oh, we will. We'd
Thank
love
you.
to come visit,
Thank
that's
you.
for sure.
Can
would
we
you-
just say a thank you to Masco as well? I know,
Oh, for
Ann, you
sure.
mentioned them, and I don't know if it's still Sue Sabo who's partnering with you, but Masco and Sue Sabo have been exceptional in working with Mrs. Jenkins, with myself, with our district. I know Mrs. Sproul, as you mentioned, serves on the board of Breaking Barriers for Kids and Families, and another corporation who continuously asks, what can we do? What do you need? And so what a great person for you to partner with. We're so proud of all that she has done for our district as well. So thank you to each of you for being here. We are very, very grateful for these donations.
Thank you.
I'll make sure to send the meeting link to both our contacts at
Please.
3M and Masco.
Please do, thank you. And I think at this time, we're going to take a very brief break to take some photos. So we'll be back in just a few minutes. Thank you. Now you can hear me. That's a shocker. You couldn't. Okay. Welcome back to the Livonia Public Schools Board of Ed regular meeting for August 18th. We're going to move on to item 3B, the district update from our superintendent, Andrea Oquist.
Thanks so much, President Bradford, and we've got it up on the screen. If you can believe it, we're here.
We're
Was that
here.
not just a blink of an eye? As you know, as I shared with the board earlier today, each week we have another group coming back. So we started with our high school principals and then all of our leaders. Last week we welcomed over 70 new staff. Today we had all of our staff back in the district to start professional development, and next Monday is our Super Bowl. Our kiddos all arrive, and we can't wait. So we are ready to kick off the year. I'll share just a couple of highlights, and then we'll get the meeting going. So we had our ALT kickoff, as I shared with you. Our entire administrative leadership team was together for a full day of learning together and collaborating on our core 4 priorities in this district related to student achievement, fiscal stewardship, enhancing employee capacity, and of course, really rooted in our climate and culture. And so here's just a few shots from that day. I want to thank our amazing cabinet team for all of their work over the past several weeks to bring this day to life. This is a really important day because it helps us kick off with our leaders so that they can then do what they did today and this week with their staff. So there are all of our school and district leaders from each of our programs. This includes our supervisor of transportation and food service and maintenance and operations. It's our entire leadership team, and we feel it's really important that we have that day together to kick off, and then, as you know, we meet periodically through the year to continue to grow our skill set. And then last week, what a great day, we hosted our new staff orientation. I likened it to a kindergarten roundup when I was a principal. I don't think they were offended by that, but it was great to have our staff here, and it always is a really special day. So we had lots of opportunity for them to interact with each other, and then also to hear about some of the things that make being part of Livonia Public Schools a really unique and innovative place to be. Here is the group as a whole. And we were able to spend the day with them doing everything from visioning together, values, gifts, and legacy. We were able to hear from each of our cabinet leaders. We had safety and security training. We worked with our partners in the LEA. So lots of great things. I think by the time the day was done, their vessel was full. And so we are excited to have them back this week for the district training. And as you know, it's not just athletes who have signing day. We have our signing day and our special wall, so they each got to sign and celebrate just like athletes of some of our biggest sports teams. To us, these are our superstars. They are the ones that are going to make the magic happen in the classrooms, on the buses, behind the desks in our offices, in the lunchrooms. So we had folks from each one of our employee groups there, and it was a great day. I want to thank President Bradford for kicking us off, and for Mrs. Burton and Mr. Johnson, who were able to join us as well. I know that meant a lot to our team. And here we are getting ready. We have some opening principal meetings and teacher PD, and it's literally happening in every room across the district. In fact, as a board, I know you have the highlights that will be taking place tomorrow. Our academic services department, our student services department, and our entire division of instruction have literally been planning for months for days like tomorrow, where we kick off the year and we have training that is meant to be meaningful and impactful for the role each of our staff serves. So we have our folks in for that, and on Friday we'll have our secretaries in for training. Today we had our paraprofessionals, who are over 200 strong in this district. So each of our roles plays an essential part, and we couldn't do without any of those pieces. And Bounce Back to School, our annual event. Wow, what a great community event. We have over 1,000 people attend. It was a beautiful night. There were bouncers and face painting and ponies and oh my, all of it. And so the LPS Education Foundation is the recipient of the donations and of the funds for that, and they really do the heavy lifting in with all of the volunteers and setting this up. But one family who is new this year, and as they came up and I was asking where their little one was going to go, he said, you don't do this every year, do you? And we said, yes, yes, we do. And really, as being part of the Livonia community for the first time, was absolutely blown away to have such a community event to kick off the school year. So this has been going on for many, many, many years, and a great partnership with our LPS Education Foundation. And we are getting ready all across. It's not just our staff, but at a lot of our schools, we have members of the Honor Society or the National Junior Honor Society who are helping us to do some groundskeeping. I know that's happening at so many of our schools. Here are some of our kiddos from Frost helping with that. I know we did that. Happened at Emerson last week. And so that kind of thing is happening all across the district, including our student athletes who are also contributing to get our fields and our outdoor areas ready as well. It was the big Lamplighter event, great annual event, so much fun for our cross-country runners. Had runners from, I believe, over, I think, 15 school districts, and it's an annual event, takes place at Ford Field, at the city's Ford Field, not the Lions Ford Field, and they run under the big lights. It's a huge undertaking, so many thanks to the Stevenson team, our athletic director and coaches in getting this together. So we had certainly Stevenson Cross Country as the host for that, but teams from across the Metro Detroit region. It was a great evening. And if you can believe it, fall sports are underway. So we have soccer underway, we have golf underway, and not just practice. But actually, this was pictures from Franklin golfers at their first tournament this week. So many of our sports are underway practicing, whether it's swim and dive, football, marching band, all of those groups have been working so hard, and we're excited to get out there and cheer them on this year. CHS, as does each of our schools, has a wonderful Hall of Fame. This is a great tradition at Churchill. And we have some of our latest inductees highlighted here, including many of you have met Joey, our Churchill super fan. What a exciting time for him. Denise Berg Grant, longtime coach, tennis coach at Churchill, and Lauren Krupski, a 2007 grad. And I'm going to guess from that photo, she was a volleyball star. But I believe she was also highlighted in track and field as well. So we're excited to see those, and I know Franklin just announced, I believe, their Hall of Fame recipients as well. And we had Football Media Day. This is always a big day. We have players from each one of the teams in the KLAA for Media Day, and the coaches attend with a few players from their team. So that took place in Northville at Genetti's, and they were able to go through the interview process just like those guys in the NFL. Maybe the questions weren't quite as hard-hitting. We are still hiring for some important positions, including bus drivers and paraprofessionals. I think we've got HVAC covered, do we? I think we might have HVAC covered, HR? Okay. Still looking for an electrician and other positions, but as always, check out the career tab on our website, and you can check out where we are hiring. And just a final welcome back. We're excited to see our staff tomorrow and our kiddos on Monday.
Thank you so much,
Of course.
Mrs. O'Quist.
Yes.
We are ready, right? We're getting there. All right. We're so ready, we're going to start the next item, which is item 3C, audience communications. Audience communications is a time set aside for the board to listen to the concerns of our community. It's not a question and answer period, but rather a time set aside to listen thoughtfully to your concerns. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes to speak. Mrs. Frank, thank you. Mrs. Frank will be our timekeeper this evening, and we have a timekeeper right here on the desk. When you hear the tone go off, we ask that you politely finish and wrap up your comments. The board is responsible for 3 main roles: hiring and evaluating our superintendent, adopting policies that give the district direction to set the priorities and achieve its goals, and also adopting and overseeing our budget. If your comments pertain to one of those 3 roles and you would like a response to your questions, you will expect to hear a response from a member of our board. If your comments pertain to anything else or what we call the day-to-day operations of the school district, you should expect to hear from the superintendent or a member of the cabinet team. Thank you for being here and addressing your concerns before the board. And with that, we will go ahead and begin. And the first audience communication form I have is Jim McConnell. Welcome, Jim. And I know Jim's been here a few times. He's with the Livonia Historical Society, so welcome. Oh, and wait a minute, we're going to press that button.
Thanks. I'm very pleased to be here with the board. I wanted to, first of all, introduce Ed Gonzalez, who is the new president of the Livonia Historical Society. And he was going to hand out a little pamphlet, but you've already got it. It tells you about the Livonia Historical Society and saves me at least 37 minutes of my prepared comments. Seriously, I wanted to update you on a phone call that I got in February of 2022. It was from a teacher at Grant School, Amy Schlad, and she wondered if the society would fund a field trip for her students at about $250, along with the Grant PTA paying the other half of that trip expense. And we looked back at our records. I knew nothing about the Livonia Historical Society pre-COVID. It was just kind of a new thing for me. And we saw that they had funded field trips. So our new board said, yeah, we can do $250. And then I got a call. We didn't mean just my class. There are 4 classes. We need $1,000. So we said, oh yeah, we can do that. And then I taught in Dearborn for years and did a lot of field trips. So I kind of knew that, you know, it's something that happens every year. And we had a meeting of the board in the summer, and then we met with Bill Joyner in the fall, and Bill said, how much money do you need to take more kids? And I said, maybe $7,000. He said, you got it. So worked with Jen Corey and with Emily Shores Fielder at Greenmead and Sue Bailey at Greenmead, Bill and myself, and we began discussing, and we put together a field trip program for all the kids in the school district, not knowing how many we would get. The first year, we spent about $6,800, so we had a $200 budget for the next year. And we grew it so that this year I can really say with a great deal of pride, we took 46 classes, 6 from Clarenceville, 40 from Livonia. Every school in Livonia except Webster participated. Their gifted curriculum has a slightly different feel to it. So next year, we hope we will get both of them as well, both second grade classes. Amy was critical to this effort and continued to work with her even though she's no longer a second grade teacher there at Grant. And the society nominated her this year for the Historical Society of Michigan Award as a Teacher of the Year. It has not yet been announced. I was hoping by now we would know it. The announcement by the end of August, and it is a very competitive award. And as you know, with these kinds of awards, one year you have 2 applicants, neither are any good, and you got to pick one of them. The next year, there are 17 applicants, and they're all wonderful. So I honestly do not know, but I'm very, very pleased with the nomination, and I know that she is deserving of that recognition. So that's where we stand now. Over 1,000 kids, and we're looking forward to next year. And there goes my timer. Stacy, do I have 1 minute? Okay.
You have to ask me.
Madam
Okay,
President,
sure.
Madam President.
All right, of
I
course.
need to tell you, that's the field trip, so we're all
Okay.
set. We had a 5-year funding plan. We have raised several $1,000s already. We have support from the Hardee's Family Trust, $10,000 last year, the Livonia Community Foundation, and Spree. And yes, we do have requests into several other groups. Our goal is to be certain that this program runs at least 5 years. After that, it's up to you. So that's number 1. Number 2, I'm very concerned about the thing that's called the semi-quincentennial, and of course we all know how to spell that. And it's better known as America 250, the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. We are a history organization. We want to provide history opportunities for the kids. So we are in the process and have already got the agreements of all 3 of the middle school principals to offer an 8th grade assembly to all of our kids on the American Revolution next May. And the final details are to be worked out in September now that they're back in school. But we will be having Randy Baker, a professional historian and presenter, come to all of our schools and to the Clarenceville Middle School as well next May. So that's our major goal, is to do that activity as well. So the field trips and the American Revolution, and we do hope to continue to improve our services to the Livonia School District. You can join this society. You have a membership application there. And if you don't have one in your house, you can go online to the society. And yes, our first meeting on Monday, September 15th at 2 p.m. will feature a well-known Livonia personality talking about the history of Livonia, Bill Joyner. So please join us at that time, if not before. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, for stopping by and giving us all
And
that.
I truly appreciate all of you and what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here tonight. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. And we will move on to the next speaker this evening is Steve King. Welcome, Steve, former board member.
Good evening. I didn't know there was all this money you guys are looking for. I feel, so much money coming your way. It's like, that's fantastic. It's really, really fantastic. Good evening. It was nice to see Denise Berg Grant up there. She was my cooperating teacher when I did my student teaching at Grant, when I worked in the district, so it's great to see her. I came today because I've been following all the online chatter about the bus routes, and some people are walking, they're not walking. There's been some stuff, and Channel 4 was sitting out in the parking lot. There was a story on Channel 7 News tonight, and they interviewed some of the moms. So I wanted to throw something out there, something that I've done in a different district, and it's called a walking school bus. And so I think this would work, could be a possible solution. Basically, it's an adult that walks the kids as like the driver of the walking school bus. You start at the farthest house away, and you walk towards school, and you pick up the kids as you go. And it's an idea that it's worked for me in other districts in the past, and really, I just wanted to throw it out there. All right.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Yeah, that's an interesting concept for sure. All right, we're going to move on to item 4, our consent agenda. In one moment here, once everybody gets. All right, item 4, our consent agenda. May I have a motion, please?
President Bradford.
Mrs. Frank.
Move that the Board of Education of the Livonia Public Schools School District approve the following consent agenda items as recommended by the superintendent. 5A, minutes of the special meeting of August 11th, 2025. 5B, minutes of the regular meeting of July 21st, 2025. 8A, notice of discontinuance of teaching contracts. 8B, authorization to recall teachers.
Support.
We have a motion by Mrs. Frank, supported by Mrs. Burton, for the consent agenda. Is there anybody, these are routine items that have individually been reviewed by our board committees, and they were unanimously recommended for placing on the consent agenda. Is there any member of the board who wishes to remove any items at this time? Seeing none, we have a motion by Mrs. Frank, supported by Mrs. Burton, for the consent agenda. Mrs. Acosta, would you take the roll, please?
Yes. Mrs. Frank?
Yes.
Mrs. Burton?
Yes.
Mrs. Jarvis?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. McFarland?
Yes.
Mrs. Acosta says yes. President Bradford?
Yes, and the motion carries. Moving on to item 6, business matters. This evening, we do not have any to discuss, so we'll move on to item 7, instructional matters. And I've 7A, the approval of virtual learning plan for the 2025-2026 school year. May I have a motion, please?
President Bradford?
Mrs. Burton.
Move that the Board of Education of the Livonia Public Schools School District accept the recommendation of the superintendent to participate in the state of Michigan's 15 days of instructional time as provided by under Section 21F of the State School Aid Act.
Support.
We have a motion by Mrs. Burton, supported by Mrs. Jarvis, for the approval of the virtual learning plan for the 2025 and 2026 school year. And this evening, we're going to hear from Mr. Francis. Good evening, Mr. Francis.
Good evening, and thank you, President Bradford. As discussed at the Committee of the Whole last week, this is a plan that, as you mentioned in the motion, is allowed for through the state of Michigan and the law. I'm tying up my tongue. I apologize. Under Section 21A of the School Aid Act. So this is to describe it as briefly as possible, and those who want to go back to the committee of the whole to get a little bit more detail. This is simply a backup plan that the board is required to approve and vote on and approve for us to have potential additional virtual days. And this is for two reasons. One, that we would use it for. One would be for testing, which we have been doing at the secondary level. And two, if and in case of so many emergency days that go beyond the 6 that are granted to all school districts in the state, we would then move towards using a virtual day, whether it be at a single school or a handful of schools that may have gone beyond those numbers of days, or the district. This is a rare incident. I know that we have had electrical power issues or snow days, et cetera. But in the simplest terms, it's really a backup plan so that the district, A, doesn't lose funding, and B, it's an alternative to having to bring students back in June after the school year actually ends, so we can get the number of minimum days that are required by the state.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Are there any questions or comments? Mrs. Burton.
Just so that folks caught some of the details of what Mr. Francis said, this is not going to take place with take the place of our normal snow days. This would be if we exceed that number of 6.
Correct.
So at the first handful of snow days, we would operate as normal, but if we got to or exceeded that number of 6, then there would be a lot of communication from the school if this is going to take place.
Yes, up to 6 usually are forgiven each year, and we generally stay within that number. Every once in a while, it's possible for a single school might have an extra power outage day or might have an extra water main issue that closes the school. At that point, this would be something that we could utilize if needed, if it's a possibility.
Thank you.
All righty. Any other questions? Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, President Bradford. And Mr. Francis, I apologize for not asking this question at the Committee of the Whole. Can we still, and let's assume we have just a horrible, horrible winter, and we exceed the 15 days, is that waiver still available for us?
First of all, it's not just the 15. Remember, we're starting with the 6.
Right.
So you're really getting to 21. You'd have to get into the 22 and beyond for that to occur. So can you help me with what waiver you're asking about?
My recollection was a few years back, it was a pretty bad winter, and we exceeded, or we were, the number of snow days.
There are times when the state superintendent could go beyond the extension of those dates that are generally done at 6. So you can ask for 3 additional. So that's probably what you might be recalling.
That's what I'm thinking.
So there's
of
some
those.
layers to this. This plan gives us those additional 15 beyond the 6 to get us to 21, which would mean we have to hit a 22nd. And at that point, we could go with the request for up to 3 again. So
Okay.
there's layers to this. It's a safety net with a safety net.
Yeah, it's as clear as a London fog. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions or comments regarding this item? Okay. Seeing none, I have a motion by Mrs. Burton, supported by Mrs. Jarvis, for the approval of virtual learning plan for the 2025-2026 school year. Mrs. Acosta, would you take the roll, please?
Mrs. Burton.
Yes.
Mrs. Jarvis.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Mr. McFarland.
Yes.
Mrs. Frank.
Yes.
Mrs. Acosta says yes. President Bradford.
Yes, and the motion carries. All right. We are moving on to, moving along. Item 8, personnel matters, and we're going on to item 8C, teachers for approval. May I have a motion, please?
President Bradford,
Mr. McFarland.
move that the Board of Education of the Livonia Public Education Schools, Livonia Public Schools School District accept the recommendation of the superintendent and offer employment for the 2025 through 26 school year to the teachers listed on the attached document.
Support.
We have a motion by Mr. McFarland, supported by Mrs. Frank, for teachers for approval. And this evening, we're going to hear from Mr. Abate.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Mr. Abate.
So this list that we've given you represents a portion of our hiring for this upcoming school year, largely comprised by special education positions. We are very pleased with the qualifications of the folks that we have brought in this summer, just as every summer, and we are very confident that they will perform at a level that we would expect according to our vision and commitments. The positions have also been properly budgeted for 25-26, and we're pleased to be recommending all of them for your approval and excited to have them working with our students.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments other than welcome to Livonia Public Schools, and we're excited you're here with us. So we have a motion by Mr. McFarland, supported by Mrs. Frank, for teachers for approval. Mrs. Acosta, would you take the roll, please?
Mr. McFarland.
Yes.
Mrs. Frank.
Yes.
Mrs. Jarvis.
Yes.
Mrs. Burton.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Mrs. Acosta says yes. President Bradford.
Yes, and the motion carries. Moving on to item 8D, resignations. That's for board information only. So we will move on to item 8E, retirements. May I have a motion, please?
President Bradford,
Mr. Johnson.
move that the Board of Education of the Livonia Public Schools School District adopt the attached resolutions of appreciation for services rendered by Julie Kanashevsky, Andrew McMillan, Kimberly Placencia, and Susan Sutherland.
Support.
We have a motion by Mr. Johnson, supported by Mrs. Jarvis, for retirements, and we will hear from Mr. Abati one more time.
Hello, everybody again. Tonight, we honor and congratulate 4 members of our LPS family who are retiring from their positions with Livonia Public Schools. They leave the district after giving a combined total of 102 years of successful years of service. On behalf of the administration, I'd like to thank our retirees for all they provided to our students through the years, and we ask the board to please adopt the attached resolution of appreciation.
Thank you so much. Any questions or comments? This evening?
Congratulations.
Happy retirement. We wish you all the best as you retire from the district. And thank you for your many, many years of service. Thank you so much. All right. We have a motion by Mr. Johnson, supported by Mrs. Jarvis, for retirements. Mrs. Acosta, would you take the roll, please?
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Mrs. Jarvis.
Yes.
Mrs. Burton.
Yes.
Mrs. Frank.
Yes.
Mr. McFarland.
Yes.
Mrs. Acosta says yes. President Bradford.
Yes, and the motion carries. Moving on to item 9, hearing from board members. Item 9A is the first reading bylaw of the board BBBC, Board Member Expenses and Development Opportunities. And this is a first reading tonight, so we won't be voting on this until our next regular meeting. But this evening, we're going to hear from Mrs. O'Quist.
Thank you so much, President Bradford. As you stated, we are looking at bylaw BBBC. This is related to the requirement that any board member expense be pre-approved before the expenditure is made by the district. We have some guidelines which remain in place, that those district expenditures must be approved at the board before the expenses are incurred, that individual individual board member, that is probably a change as I'm looking through bullet 2. Individual board member reimbursements must be approved at a voting meeting prior to the payment of the reimbursement of the board member.
Yeah, we may have to take that.
So we may not need bullet 2 because we now participate in bullet 3, which is in order to facilitate the aforementioned approvals, the
Okay.
board will bring forth an annual request for approval at the start of each school year with the intent of pre-approving anticipated professional development expenditures. And since that will be brought with this in September, I believe that bullet 2 would not be necessary. Do you have any thoughts on that? We are going to make the change in bullet 4. As we talked about at the committee of the whole, with some increased costs related to travel, related to board webinars or in-person professional development conferences, hotel rooms, etc. We are suggesting that the overall total go from $15,000 annually for all board members to $18,000, and that any one board member would be able to expend up to $1,000 without having additional approval sought, because $750 was the prior one-person total for any conference. And really with the cost of the conference itself now, if you added one night's room and a meal, you may hit that limit. So the change we are recommending is in regard to the $1,000 per person. But do we have feedback on bullet 2?
I'm wondering if this says anticipated professional development expenditures. Would there ever be a time where a board member needs reimbursement for something and would have to have approval for that outside of that boundary, or would that never occur? You know what I'm saying? We would always, since we have a threshold right now, when we go to a conference or we go somewhere, we already have it approved. But would there ever be a time of something outside of that? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, well, this is in relation to educational leadership, developmental classes, workshops,
Right.
conferences, and seminars. And it covers the registration fees, cost of travel, lodging, and meals, not including alcoholic
Yeah.
beverages.
So that looks like
beyond
we would
that-
not need that then, right? I would say we would not need that. Colleen?
What I'd like to do, especially seeing as this is a first reading and we will be bringing it back at the next voting meeting. I would like to, those who are sitting at this table right now and in this cabinet team understand that 2 votes are needed. One is this policy. The second is that September motion that we make and pass that covers the bulk. Seeing as future boards down the road might not understand that, and this is pretty specific to making certain that we're following the law, I would like to just see us rework the wording of bullet points 2 and 3,
Okay.
so that it's very clear that 2 votes are necessary. 1 is the passage of this policy. A second is either a vote for the bulk of purchase in September or individual votes.
Okay.
So if we can
Take
have
that
a little
back.
grace
Yeah,
to
let's-
take that back and rework the phrasing in bullet points 2 and 3 to make that very clear for future boards, which really is what policy is for, so folks who aren't here today will also understand. And then we can bring that back even to a committee of the whole, say,
Yes.
for discussion on that.
I think that's a great idea.
I'd be happy to
Yeah.
bring that to the September study session and committee of
Okay.
the whole.
Okay.
And we can work that through. Because one area that I'm wondering if the individual board member reimbursement may want to stay would be if we have that gap between the end of the prior year and the passage of the,
Okay.
to you to take a look at, and we'll
Yeah,
bring it to
that
the
sounds
study
great. So
session.
let's table that to the September study session.
Okay,
Which
sounds
is all
great.
exactly why we have
First
2
readings.
first readings and second readings. So,
Yes.
thank you, folks.
All right. Any other questions on that one? Okay. Seeing none, we're going to go on to item 9B, the first reading, removal of board policy DFB, federal and state aid. And I believe we are going to be hearing from Mrs. Smith.
Good
Hello,
evening.
Mrs. Smith.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to talk through this with the board at last week's Committee of the Whole. As we discussed, it's a very short policy, a 1 sentence that just reads, "The Board of Education may accept federal funds and state categorical funds and administer them as directed by law." Because it's so basic in nature and kind of goes without saying, we discussed last week about removing the board policy, that we don't need the board policy to know that we can accept these funds. So that is the suggestion, and it sounded like there was support from the board for that.
I believe there is support. Is there anybody that is not in support of the removal of board policy DFB? Okay, seeing none, this would be our first reading, and this will go on for our next regular meeting as a second reading and then passage.
Perfect, thank you.
Or removal in that case. All right, thank you so much. All right, let's move on to item 9C, the first reading, removal of board policy DJCA, payday schedules. And again, I believe we're going to hear from Mrs. Smith.
Thank you. This is another one that we discussed last week. Again, very short in nature. It refers readers to the individual master agreements on the district's website to the various pay schedules. And as we discussed, this generally isn't the place that employees are going to, to board policy to find out about their pay schedules. That is out on the website. It's obviously communicated when they're hired. So this would be another one that I believe we can remove.
Okay. Is there anybody today that wishes to keep that on as board policy? Okay, seeing none, this item will also go on for a second reading at our next regular board meeting, and that would be a second reading, and that would be the removal of board policy DJCA payday schedules. All right, moving on to item 9D. The first reading of board policy GAEA, discriminatory harassment of employees or applicants for employment. And this evening, we are going to hear from Mr. Abate on this.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
So we have some updates on some key definitions and some general updating for guidance on this particular topic. Would you like me to go ahead and read through?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, personnel policy, GAEA, discriminatory harassment of employees or applicants for employment. Discriminatory harassment of employees or applicants for employment by school district employees, board members, vendors, contractors, or others doing business with the school district, students, parents, invitees, guests, volunteers, etc., will not be tolerated. Discriminatory harassment means unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or other verbal or physical conduct relating to an individual's sex, including harassment on the basis of sex stereotypes, sex characteristics, pregnancy or related conditions, sexual orientation or gender identity, race, color, national origin, age, religion, height, weight, marital status, or disability. When A, submission to the conduct is made a condition of obtaining employment, B, submission to or rejection of the conduct is used as a factor in decisions affecting the individual's employment, or C, such conduct or communication has the purpose or effect of substantially interfering with the individual's employment or creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. An employee or applicant who believes that he or she has suffered discriminatory harassment should promptly report the incidents to the Director of Human Resources. In the event the employee or applicant cannot report to the Director of Human Resources, the employee should promptly report the incident to the superintendent. In the event that the employee or applicant is charging the superintendent or a board member with discriminatory harassment, he or she should promptly report the incidents to the board president. In the event that the employee or applicant is charging the board president with such harassment, he or she should promptly report the incident to the vice president of the board. Any employee who has notice of discrimination or harassment on the basis of sex of an employee or applicant should promptly notify the Title IX coordinator. Any member of administration who becomes aware of discriminatory harassment of an employee or applicant on the basis of a protected class other than sex should promptly notify the Director of Human Resources. Reports of discriminatory harassment may be made orally or in writing. In determining whether an alleged conduct constitutes discriminatory harassment, the totality of the circumstances, the nature of the conduct, and the context in which the alleged incidents occurred will be investigated. The school district has the responsibility of investigating and resolving complaints of discriminatory harassment. The school district shall first determine whether the complaint concerns allegations of A, discrimination on the basis of sex in the educational programs and activities which it operates, including employment admissions, recruitment, referrals, and collective bargaining, or B, sexual harassment. If the allegations concern either of these matters, Title IX coordinator shall resolve the complaint in accordance with the Title IX grievance procedures of Administrative Procedure JAA. If the Title IX grievance procedures are not applicable based upon the conduct alleged, the allegations will be investigated in accordance with the procedures set forth in policy GAAA. In cases where the alleged discriminatory harassment was committed by the superintendent or a member of the Board of Education, the school district will appoint outside legal counsel to investigate the alleged incidents. The results of an investigation of any action taken thereon will be communicated to the complainant. The school district considers discriminatory harassment to be a major offense, which will result in corrective action, regardless of the offender's position with the school district. Corrective action of a school district employee may include disciplinary action up to and including termination of employment. Corrective action of a student may include disciplinary action up to and including expulsion. The school district will not tolerate any form of reprisal toward a complainant, and any such allegation should be immediately reported to the Director of Human Resources for investigation and appropriate action if necessary.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Wow, that was a good reading.
Is it weird that I like to do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe a little? All right.
Is there any comments regarding that? Mrs. Burton?
Just a quick question. I think we're still okay with this. Title IX coordinator is the correct title for the individual who handles that, correct? Because sometimes these titles change.
That is correct.
Okay, that's it for me. Thank you.
All right. Mrs. Jarvis?
Thank you. I apologize if this question was answered at a meeting that I was not able to attend. There's a lot of information here, and I think it's important information, but it strikes me that everything after the first paragraph is more procedure-oriented. Is it something we'd like to have in our policies, or should we move it more towards administrative procedures?
We did discuss that.
Yes.
We did discuss the possibility of that, and I believe after really
Delving into it.
really talking through that, it was determined that it was important enough that it all be part of the policy as it relates to federal law as well. And so I think the same thing was brought up by Mrs. Burton, Mrs. Jarvis, so you're certainly share that same thinking that we do, with the policy being the what and the administrative procedure being the how. But I know after discussion, the board had come back around to wanting to leave it all part of the policy, but certainly something, if you want us to review, we can look at that again.
Mr. McFarland?
Again, I was not at the last meeting, so if this was asked and answered, my apologies, but in the wildly unlikely situation that it is the board president and board vice president that are co-aggressors, who would the complainant then go to? If initially they go to the board president, but then what if the board vice president is doing, like, what if they're both involved? That's kind of where the line of complaints stops. So who would the next level of person you would go to file, to leverage the complaint?
I would say, I don't know if, maybe.
It really should go to the Title IX coordinator.
Okay, just,
Are you
Title
looking
IX.
in paragraph 2?
yeah,
Yes.
correct.
So what could we add that would be helpful there?
I don't know, that's why I asked the question.
I
don't
think
have-
it's in the last question. Well, any employee should promptly notify the Title X coordinator.
Okay.
Title IX coordinator.
How about after, so I think you were talking about the line, in the event that the employee or applicant is charging the board president with such harassment, she should promptly report the incident to the vice president of the board. I think we could just certainly add a line there that said, in the event that both parties are involved, it should go directly to the Title IX coordinator. Just to
Okay.
be,
Just CYA, right?
Yeah, that's probably a great idea. You never know. Mrs. Frank?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Abate. That was a lot of rework. We had a lot of discussion about it. It was a lot of, massaging on that policy, so thank you for that. There was a lot of discussion about it, and you worked all of our comments into it, so thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the concept of policy versus administrative procedure, I think it is appropriate that, and you'll see in other policies, we removed the bulk of that to go to the proper place. I think some of these, though, require just a smidgen so that folks will understand the basics of where this begins, right? So that you at least know how this will play out as you look at the policy. And then the rest will be for us in our procedures so that we understand exactly what needs to happen from beginning to end. That's my interpretation.
Yeah, perfect. Good thought. Okay, any other comments? Okay. All right, we will, thank you, Mr. Abate. We're going to move on to item 9D. That was D, sorry, I didn't cross my list off. Thank you. That's going to go for a second reading at our next regular board meeting. First reading board policy GAEA. All right, moving on to item 9E, the first reading of board policy JAA, equal education opportunities. And that goes to Mr. Abate. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We shall continue on. Similar topic, similar revisions, and I'll read through for you. So we have Board Policy JAA students, equal educational opportunities. Livonia Public Schools prohibits unlawful discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, including harassment on the basis of sex stereotypes, sex characteristics, pregnancy or related conditions, sexual orientation, and gender identity, national origin, age, height, weight, marital status, handicap, or disability in any of its education programs or activities. Students and other persons will not be denied participation in or the benefit of any educational program or activity or discriminated against in any manner that violates state or federal law on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, including sex stereotypes, sex characteristics, pregnancy and related conditions, sexual orientation and gender identity, national origin, age, height, weight, marital status, or handicap, disability. The Director of Student Services is appointed the Civil Rights Coordinator regarding complaints of disability, handicap, discrimination involving educational services, programs, or activities. The Director of Human Resources is appointed the Civil Rights Coordinator regarding all other complaints of discrimination. These individuals are responsible for coordinating the implementation of the school district's obligations under state and federal law that prohibit conduct also prohibited by this policy. A student or other person who believes that the school district or its Board of Education has not complied with the law or this policy should promptly file an oral or written complaint with the school district civil rights coordinators. The assigned coordinator will meet with the, will meet with the complainant and conduct a reasonable investigation into the facts and circumstances surrounding the complaint. The complainant or respondent may appeal the coordinator's determination to the superintendent by so notifying the superintendent within 10 calendar days of the coordinator's determination. The superintendent shall affirm or reverse the coordinator's determination and, if warranted, implement the coordinator's proposed resolution or modification thereof. The superintendent's decision shall be final.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments concerning this one? I know we took out, sorry, my mic. I know we took out some information on that third paragraph, but I think it captured, or you captured everything in there. Anybody have any questions or comments regarding this? Okay, so seeing none, we're going to go ahead and put this on for a second reading of Board Policy JAA, Equal Opportunity, Educational Opportunities. That'll be at the next regular meeting. All right, we're going to move on to item 9F, the first reading of Board Policy JCED, Discriminatory Harassment of Students. And again, this is a first reading, and we're going to hear from Mr. Abate.
Getting my reading in.
You are getting your reading in. Thank you so much.
Just the tiniest bit of, hang on one second. There you go. Okay, thank you so much. All right, as noted, this policy is discriminatory harassment of students. Discriminatory harassment of students by school district employees, board members, vendors, contractors, or others doing business with the school district, fellow students, parents, invitees, guests, volunteers, etc., will not be tolerated. Discriminatory harassment means unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or other verbal or physical conduct relating to an individual's sex, including harassment on the basis of sex stereotypes, sex characteristics, pregnancy or related conditions, sexual orientation, and gender identity, race, color, national origin, age, religion, height, weight, marital status, or disability, when A, submission to the conduct is made a condition of utilizing or benefiting from the services, activities, or programs of the school district. B, submission to or rejection of the conduct is used as a basis for a decision to exclude, expel, or limit the student in terms, conditions, or privileges of the school district. Or C, the conduct has the purpose or effect of substantially interfering with the student's education, creating an intimidating, hostile, or offensive educational environment. Any student who believes that he or she has suffered discriminatory harassment shall report the incidents to his or her counselor or building principal. In the event that the student is charging the building principal with such discriminatory harassment, he or she shall report the incidents to the superintendent. In the event that the student is charging the superintendent or board member with such discriminatory harassment, he or she shall report the incidents to the board president. In the event that the student is charging the board president with such discriminatory harassment, he or she shall report the incident to the vice president of the board. In determining whether the alleged conduct constitutes discriminatory harassment, the totality of the circumstances, the nature of the conduct, and the context in which the alleged incidents occurred will be investigated. The school district has the responsibility of investigating and resolving complaints of discriminatory harassment. In cases where the alleged discriminatory harassment was committed by the superintendent or a member of the Board of Education, the school district will appoint outside legal counsel to investigate the alleged incidents. The results of an investigation and any action taken therein will be communicated to the complainant. The school district considers discriminatory harassment to be a major offense, which will result in corrective action, regardless of the offender's position with the school district. Corrective action of a school district employee may include disciplinary action up to and including termination of employment. Corrective action of a student may include disciplinary action up to and including expulsion. The school district will not tolerate any form of reprisal toward a complainant, and any such allegation should be immediately reported to the Director of Human Resources for investigation and appropriate action if necessary.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? I'm thinking that that same rule might apply about, in the event that the board president or she shall report the incident to the vice president. Would there be a line that we would want to put in there?
I think we would want to have the same line as the prior,
Yeah,
in the event that they're both involved.
it would go to
That
the
would go to the
Title
Title
IX
IX
coordinator?
coordinator. Yep.
Okay,
I've noted that for both policies.
perfect. Mr. Johnson?
Thank you, President Bradford. I'm also, thanks, Dan. Thank you, President Bradford. I'm also thinking, we changed in the other policy, the word shall to should promptly. And I'm wondering if we shouldn't be consistent in our policies where we have shall report, shall report, shall report.
Yes, I believe we should change that. Promptly.
We should promptly change it?
We should promptly change that.
I'll note that, yeah, I missed that because the other ones were saying shall immediately, and that really stood out to us, and then the single shall didn't really pop, so that makes a lot of sense, and I will note it, and I will change it.
Perfect. Okay, and, Mrs. Burton?
Up at the very beginning of this policy, in line 2, in the middle of the line or in the middle of the line really of individuals that we identify, we say, or others doing business with the school district. And then we continue on with other individuals. I believe that phrase, or others doing business with the school district, should come at the end of the list of individuals or groups of people, so that it would read, discriminatory harassment of students by the school district employees, board members, vendors, contractors, fellow students, parents, invitees, guests, volunteers, or others doing business with the school district will not be tolerated.
Perfect,
Because
yes, that sounds good.
it otherwise kind of cuts off in the middle, and then you go into, without that phrase being at the very end, it leaves open to interpretation things that may have happened in an arena that has nothing to do with the school whatsoever, and would we or would we not be responsible? So I think putting that phrase, moving that phrase from the middle to the end, makes it clear that we're talking about individuals who have had any of these issues that pertain to the school district.
Okay.
Do you want vendors? I think it was intended to be part of vendors, contractors, or others doing business with the school district. So are you suggesting we move that whole, that whole phrase, vendors, contractors, or others doing business with the school district, down at the end so that that's clear?
That would be fine too.
that would
Okay,
go well.
I think that is what it was intended, so that you're saying, if somebody said, well, I'm not a vendor and I'm not a contractor, but I'm a salesperson, or whatever it is, so why don't we move that whole phrase?
That would be fine with me too. So at the very end of the list is going to be vendors, contractors, or others doing business with the school district.
Yeah,
Noted.
yeah. And I'm assuming, Mrs. Jarvis, that was what you were gonna say?
That is what I was going to say, or to suggest using semicolons in that list to separate groups of words.
Gotcha.
I thought the same, it's just that there's so many single words, other than that one, that I didn't go that route, but I like that idea as well.
Okay. All right. That's why we do the first reading. That's excellent. Okay, so that will go on for a second reading at our next regular board meeting. And that will be a second reading of Board Policy JCED. All right. We will go ahead and move on. We're going to move on to item 9G, the approval of renaming of committees of the Board of Education. May I have a motion, please?
President Bradford,
Mrs. Acosta.
move that the Board of Education of the Livonia Public Schools School District accept the recommendation of the superintendent and rename 4 of the committees of the Board of Education to the following: Operations Committee, formerly Building and Site; Division of Instruction Committee, formerly Curriculum Committee; Human Resources Committee, formerly Personnel Committee; Board Policy Committee, formerly Policy Committee.
Support.
We have a motion by Mrs. Acosta, supported by Mr. Johnson, for the approval of renaming of committees of the Board of Education. This evening, we're going to hear from Mrs. Oquist.
Thank you so much, President Bradford. While there is not a specific bylaw that speaks to the agenda for committee of the whole meetings, the policy speaks to the order and naming of the regular meeting agenda. We did want to bring this forward so that we had record of this change and when it happened. So again, future boards, future administrations would know and have record of when that took place. So again, the renaming of these committees is really to better align with the departments, the members of cabinet in those departments, and the verbiage that we commonly use as it's related to those areas. And a good example is building and site. It is pretty clear what it is, but that really is the entire operations department, which also covers food service and transportation and warehouse. And so building and site would only be a portion of that. And so these broader committees are intended to really reflect the scope of the work of those departments. So we will be utilizing these names with regard to the committee of the whole meetings and the study session.
Great, thank you. And we did discuss this at length at both our study session and committee of the whole, and we were all in agreement to make that change. So I'm sure, is there anybody that wants to speak about it? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion by Mrs. Acosta, supported by Mr. Johnson, for the approval of renaming of committees of the Board of Education. Mrs. Acosta, would you take the roll, please?
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. McFarland,
Yes.
Mrs. Jarvis,
Yes.
Mrs. Frank,
Yes.
Mrs. Burton,
Yes.
Mrs. Acosta says yes. President Bradford.
Yes, and the motion carries. Moving on to item 9H, hearing from board members. Hearing from board members is a time we set aside at the end of our meetings for any board member who wishes to speak on any topic. Is there anybody this evening who would like to speak? Oh, Mr. McFarland.
I just wanted to say what a delightful way to start the meeting with all of the surprises from the community partners for such a great cause. And I just thought that was a fantastic, great way to start the meeting, start the year. Looking forward to a great one.
Thank you so much. Anybody else this evening? Well, we do know that school is, for all our students, is coming soon. I guess I call it the most wonderful day of the year for the parents if they're sending their little ones back. And we call it the most wonderful day of the year here too, because we love to welcome them all back. So we are wishing everybody a great evening, and we hope that the start of the school year is a great one, a smooth one, a happy one, and a very welcoming one. So we welcome you all back on Monday the 25th. So it's coming soon. So with that, I think we're at item 10, which is maybe a record tonight. We are adjourned for this evening. So good evening, everybody.
Thank you.